Good afternoon. I'm going to let my family settle down over there. Okay. I gave them away. So I'd like to welcome you to the 5th community concert hosted here at Grace Chapel. It's wonderful to see many familiar and some new faces to share music with again this year. One of the most frequently asked questions is how I choose the music and then how do I decide what will get performed. So every year begins with a concept based on multiple factors. Each of the 4 previous community concerts has had its own flavor variety and has been curated from different composers and time periods. This year is the simplest of all, as there is only one language represented by me. And for the first time ever, I've invited a good friend, Joe Caliva, who's around here somewhere. You'll see him, you'll meet him shortly, kind of like a musical sibling. We've been working together since about 1987 when we attended the recently laid to rest University of the Arts. Any other alumni here from U of A? Okay. So we collaborated on an opera and several other orchestral pieces that Joe composed, and I was the voice chosen to interpret the pieces. Fun fact, the night that I debuted one of his pieces was the night I met my husband in 1994. It was in Anthony's here. We went to Mass, and that was the night that I met Vince. I didn't think I was going to offer a concert this year, and then in early February, I received a detailed audio message from someone detailing their program notes on each of the songs and how they had impacted them. So that message was about 20 minutes long. It pushed me over any doubts and set me on course to assemble a song list. So this might have been in February, about February, yep. Of the 14 Spanish pieces on this program, 6 of them are firsts for me. The same number of debut pieces happened last year as well, and it's nice to revisit old song friends while adding new ones to the repertoire as well. What's been prepared this year is a curated collection of classical Spanish composers from different periods and schools of musical thought. In my education, I only had limited time to work through repertoire, and the 6 new pieces are a mishmash of things I never got to perform, but always wanted to. And since there is so much repertoire out there, no one can get to it all. New for 2024 is inviting a friend artist and adding a completely different genre of music, so you'll be hearing Napolitano songs. This helps with the indirect and unseen workload of putting together a concert, and we are seeking a path forward to be able to present these types of edutainment to a next generation that doesn't easily have access to this type of more difficult to perform and prepare type of art. So yes, everyone can watch this on YouTube, but we learned in the pandemic it's not the same as inhabiting and holding space. Of all the language groups and ethnicities that could work well together, Italian is an easy pairing. I told my children they will be getting exposed to the other side of their cultural heritage today. Joe is the first guest artist in this concert series and is no stranger to Grace Chapel. He's been here for the past several concerts in the capacity of videographer and consultant for many of the ideas that you've enjoyed in the past. You will be enjoying his music shortly. For this first set of songs, the first 3 come from the repertoire considered the building blocks of beginning classical vocal student. Everyone who begins this training has to start with something generally from the 17th and 18th centuries. The 3rd song dates into the 19th century and goes back to when I was in 10th grade and my high school vocal teacher had played through a variety of pieces, and I rejected all of them. I was very angsty then and would only accept something in minor. He finally played the introduction to La Maja Dolorosa, number 3 by Granados, and I said yes, to his great relief, I'm sure. Granados was a great musical influence on Manuel de Falla and Pablo Casals, and is probably best known for his Goyescas suite for piano written in 1911. Due to time and to just exchanging different things for this concert this year, I won't be getting into as many fun facts and details of each composer and every song. I'm just gonna kind of let you do a deeper dive, after the concert, or come talk to us afterwards. All right, and with that.
Y sé que debajo Después que te conocí, todas las cosas me sobran. El sol para tener día, abril para tener rosas. Después que te conocí. Por mí bien pueden tomar otro oficio las auroras, que yo conozco una luz que sabe amanecer sombras. Bien puede buscar la noche que sus estrellas conozca, que para mi astrología ya son escuras y pocas. Después
notte tutte dormono, ma io che può dormire, pensando nella mia, mi sento scevoli, li guarda dura sonno, a uno, due, a tre. Io ti voglio bene assai, e tu non vieni a me. Io ti voglio bene assai, e tu non vieni a me. Guardami facce vite, come sono arreduto, sicco periendo brutto, né nella mia pete, casuto filo doppio, con te ne vedrai. Io ti voglio bene assai, e tu non vieni a me. Io ti voglio bene assai, e tu non vieni a me. Thank you very much, and thank you once again to Lizette for having me come out to perform. Some of my favorite music in the whole world, these classic Neapolitan songs, or canzoni classiche napoletane. These are popular songs that were developed in Naples, Italy, between the early 19th century and just after World War II. It's a period that's considered the golden era of Neapolitan songs. And in fact, the song that I just performed, Te voglio bene assai, which means I love you so much, is considered by many to be the song that gave birth to this golden era of Neapolitan songs. So I thought it was appropriate to start with this one tonight. This next song is the very first Neapolitan song that I ever heard. It was written in 1951 by a very popular Neapolitan actor named Antonio de Curtis. He's known in Naples as Totò. And this song actually became very popular in the United States in the middle of the 20th century due to recordings by Italian-American singers like Lou Monte, Jerry Valli, Robert Goulet. But for me, I was introduced to this song by my father, who liked to sing it around the house, mainly to annoy a small, long-haired chihuahua that we had at the time, named Gigi, who every time he started to sing it, she would start to howl. And I used to love hearing my father sing this song and love hearing Gigi howl. And even today, when I sing the first lines of the chorus of the song, I can still hear my father's voice and Gigi howling. This is called Malafemmena. Se avessi fatto in alto quello che hai fatto a me, stanotte avessi acceso e non sape perché con pasta a terra, femmina come te, non c'è sta per Femmina capriccio, tutto è distrutto in me, ma Dio non ti perdona quello che hai fatto a me. Femmina, si dolce come zucchero, però sta faccia d'angela ti serve per ingannare. Femmina, tu sia più bella femmina, ti voglio bene e tu Dio non ti posso scordare. Thank you very much. One of the things that makes Neapolitan songs different from other styles of Italian music is that it is all written in and sung in the Neapolitan language, or the Neapolitan dialect of Italian, both of which are very different from standard Italian. So if anybody here has studied Italian in high school, or you're studying it on Duolingo, the words that I'm singing tonight, or that you're following along with, probably look and sound very different. One of the other things that makes Neapolitan songs unique is that almost all of them are serenades, usually sung by a man to a woman, or about a woman, about love or unrequited love, like the first two songs that I sang. And this next song is not about unrequited love, but it is a serenade, sung by a man standing in the middle of an Italian street, calling out the name of his beloved, Maria, begging her to open her window and let him in. I always found this song a little bit funny. The man in the song is standing in the middle of an Italian neighborhood, calling out one of the most popular names of Italian women, expecting only one woman to come to his room. But this was a song written by a very famous Neapolitan composer named Eduardo di Capua in 1899. But if it sounds familiar, it might be because in 1956, an Italian-American jazz musician named Louis Prima recorded a song called O Maria, which was loosely based on the melody of this song. This is the original, titled Maria, Marì.
wasn't that fun? I don't know why we don't do concerts, acoustic stuff more often. So for the second set, I pulled out 4 of the 5 songs of a cycle by Montsalvatge. This is by far one of my favorite cycles for the lush chromaticism of the chords, but also for its rhythmic aspect. There is just something for everyone in these, and they're so playful and easy to listen to, with the exception of the one. This cycle put the composer on the map in the middle of the 20th century, and they have been recorded by countless sopranos and mezzos. So if you ever look, on YouTube, you will find many versions of this.
La niña criolla pasa con su minigana blanca, quiero blanco. Oh, la cresta con stampa, marinerosa templata, paparita de lunas, y le hacen su piel morada. Niña, no te quejes, tan solo por esta tarde, quisiera mandar al agua, que no se escapare pronto de la cárcel de tu falda, tu cuerpo encima esta tarde, rumor de avisar de blanca.
I mentioned a little earlier that Neapolitan songs are usually a serenade, but very often the subject of the love song is the city of Naples itself. They're kind of odes to Naples, the beauty of the sea, the fresh air, the smell of orange trees and lemon trees, the food. In this first song of this second set, this is a serenade, but the man is actually using the beauty of Naples to try and lure his lover back to him. If she won't return to him because she loves him, maybe she'll return to him because Naples is so beautiful. This is another of the very first Neapolitan songs I ever heard. Thanks again to my father and to Gigi. It was written in 1905, and I would like to dedicate this to my mother, who is here tonight, and had to put up with many years of my father singing this song, and to my daughter as well, who had to put up with many months of hearing me sing this over and over again. This is called Torna a Sorriento. Many Italians emigrated to the United States in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Most of them came from southern Italy. And in fact, had to leave Naples through the port of Naples, had to leave Italy through the port of Naples. So they brought these Neapolitan songs with them to the United States. So they became a very important part, a very important connection to Italy for many of those Italians, and it became a very important part of Italian-American culture. In fact, you can hear a lot of Neapolitan songs in films, like The Godfather. More recently, like TV series, like The Sopranos. Probably not the best series to mention here. But in fact, this next song was featured in an episode of The Sopranos. And it was sung by the actor, an Italian-American actor named Dominic Chianese, who played the character of Uncle Junior. And in a scene from this episode, he was asked to sing a song at a funeral for somebody who met an untimely death. But thanks to the show, this song kind of enjoyed a renewal or a rebirth, so to speak. The name of the song, which was written in 1911, is Cuore ingrato, which means ungrateful heart. sole sta su free perché sta su free, non si può credere, sta su free tutte le stratina. Io confessore, che persona santa, m'ha detto figlio mio, lascialo stare, lascialo stare. Finally, tonight I would like to leave all of you with what is probably one of the most famous Neapolitan songs in the world. Its fame is due in large part to the number of other songs that were created that were based on the melody of this original song. In fact, in the US, the version was made famous thanks to a very popular American singer in the 1940s, who, while he was stationed in Germany during World War II, heard a song that was based on this melody. And when he returned to the US, he asked for lyrics to be written to the melody so he could have his own version of it. The singer was Elvis Presley, and the song ultimately was titled It's Now or Never, which became one of his biggest hits. But it was all based on this original Neapolitan song that was written in 1898, and it's called O Sole Mio, which means my sun or my sunshine. And I would like to dedicate this song to my sunshine, il mio sole, my beloved Magdalena, who could not be here tonight, but hopefully she will be watching on the video recording. But I want to once again thank all of you for allowing me to share these songs with you, and to Lizette for allowing me to be part of this wonderful program. Thank you.
stanno affronta te.
Quando la notte io solo se ne scende, bene quasi una malinconia, sotto finestra toia restaria. Quando vendrò io solo se ne scende.
So I'd like to thank you all for coming today. We're not quite done yet, but let's see. Oh, after our brief, we're going to have a brief Q&A at the end of this, and just want to make sure I'm not missing something. We'll be hosting a meet and greet with the artist alongside some light refreshments downstairs. Our friend Linda, here in the front row, she will be facilitating the Q&A segment, and if you have any questions or comments that you would like to see incorporated into future concerts, please feel free to write them down or tell my family so they get back to me. So my family's kind of like right in that first two rows there. Any of those people, those folks, they'll give me the information. There's also the Facebook event, so if you want to write any questions or comments on there, that's a great place to jot things down. It's under Lizette Casals and Senator as well. For the light reception, if you would exit by this door to my right and just follow the person in front of you, it's going to be straight down there. I'm just checking if I think everybody understood that. Okay, and then viendo si tenía que traducir a español. That's what I was checking. So wasn't because that was important information. Don't want anyone getting lost going downstairs. And there is a person operating the lift, so there is a lift over there as well. If you enjoyed the music and you're interested in singing some Christmas carols, just because you want to sing some, please join us for our Christmas candlelight service at 5 p.m. on Christmas Eve. So for this final set, I put together some pieces that really reflect what is considered the Spanish sound of zarzuela. A quick one-word answer or definition that, what is zarzuela? Oh, one-word definition. Oh, it's basically a Spanish-flavored word for operetta. Well, okay, that's the penny definition. But a more full-bodied definition is that it's not exactly the same thing. It differs because it is a distinct form of Spanish musical theater that combines elements of opera, operetta, and musical comedy, incorporating Spanish folk music and dance. Operetta can be from various countries, but zarzuela originated in Spain and is deeply rooted in Spanish culture. So only two of the pieces in these four are actual zarzuela. The first two are just a very Spanish sounding, taken from a larger song cycle that I just extracted and curated for you guys. Okay.
Ah brazos, con sus brazos y sus aleros, 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 porque mueve corazones, con sus brazos y sus aleros, no le odio, no le quiero, porque mueve corazones, con sus brazos y sus aleros, aleros, aleros. Él me tiene muy ufano, porque hay muchas que le quieren y se quedan con las ganas, las ganas, las ganas, porque no sé que les quieren y se quedan con las ganas. A mi lado le ufano, porque hay muchas que le quieren y se quedan con las ganas, las ganas, las ganas, y se quedan con las ganas. Y ahora yo soy una así, y lo quiero solamente, solamente para mí, ay, solamente para mí. Olvídame mi sol, es lo mismo que quitarle las hojitas a una flor, ay, las hojitas a una flor, ay, las hojitas a una flor, ay, las hojitas a una flor. Yo me muero de gozo cuando me mira y me vuelvo jalea cuando suspira. Si me echo flores, siento el corazoncito morir de amores. Porque tiene unos ojitos y me miran entornados, muy gachones y muy píos, muy píos, muy píos, que me miran entornados, muy gachones y muy píos, porque tiene unos ojitos y me miran entornados, muy gachones y muy píos, muy píos, muy píos. Y me dice la lucera que por esa personita me derrito, yo me muero, me muero, me muero. Y por esa personita me derrito, yo me muero. Y me dice la lucera que por esa personita me derrito, yo me muero, me muero, me muero. Me derrito, yo me muero. Ahora yo soy una así y lo quiero solamente, solamente para mí, ay, solamente para mí, ay, y que todo mi amor es
So sometime earlier this week, Joe and I thought it might be nice if we could perform something together. Since we live a little too far from each other, we kind of pieced together a little folk tune that fits into the program like a butterscotch after a meal. It's just a little something sweet. This is a Cuban trova, think troubadours, written in 1916 by Maria Teresa Vara, called 20 años. So the trova is distinct from a traveling musician that would have traveled. You can't travel with a piano. So it's basically a portable singing opportunity like a mariachi, but it's called trova.
Que te ame si tú no me quieres ya. El amor que ya ha pasado no se debe recordar. Fui la ilusión de tu vida un día lejano ya. Hoy represento el pasado. Que te ame si tú no me quieres ya. El amor que ya ha pasado no se debe recordar. Fui la ilusión de tu vida un día lejano ya. Hoy represento el pasado.
And then maybe if you can think of some others, you can tell the family. So the first one is, how do you choose the music you're going to perform? And you've each alluded to that a bit in your remarks, but could you just talk a little bit more about that process? And who would like to go first?
This was like, how do I make this the easiest possible? And it was like, I'm just going to do all Spanish. It hasn't been done yet. So I looked at all the previous concerts, what hasn't been done, what kind of a mix do I want to do. And, if you've been to the other ones, I had multiple languages happening, had to memorize in languages I'm not fluent in. And I just thought this is kind of easy. And we had talked about how do we make this easier if we would like to perform more of this stuff. So that was kind of it. Joe? And you're missing a microphone, so. Here, yeah.
So for me, it's a similar process, but I think it started for me, as I mentioned during the performance, with the songs that were the most personal to me. In fact, it was kind of during COVID when the song that I sang called Torna Sorriento, I always thought that was a song my father made up, and he just sang to make the dog howl. And I think I was in the Italian market one day, and I heard this song came on, and it was very, I was very stunned. I was like, oh my God, that's the song my father made up. Turns out he didn't make it up. But so for me, those two songs got me into singing Neapolitan music. And then, of course, as I discovered more, I tried to choose songs that might be familiar to you from other recordings and that were popular here as well. So.
Thank you. The other question that always seems to be asked is, what is your timeline for preparation? How long does it take you? Is it practice? Is it, you're doing this every day anyway? I know for Lizette it's not that case. But what is your timing and your preparation for a concert like this?
So I probably over-prepared. Basically, the week before, I try to run the concert. Ideally, it would be every other day, and I just run it in the kitchen. So you'll hear like people sticking things in the oven, and someone cooking, running the vent, running the microphone, and I'm just running it. Why the kitchen? Because it's kind of a good acoustic space. It doesn't have a lot of textiles in it, so that's kind of the process. And it's really no. I don't think any. Are you clocking time? Like I think if you ask our families how much we practice, that's a better read on the time, because they're like, oh, it's too much. We wanted like a separate house for them, but it really is more than people would imagine, because there's a lot of indirect preparation that goes into it, that isn't what you're seeing. It's the little details, the minutia. It's the jewelry, the scarf, the comb, the flower doesn't match. Oh, it's the wrong shade of red. What speaks to, I had a different outfit that was Spanish, and this one was going to be the Cuban outfit. And my Brazilian friend was like, who even knows what the difference between a Spanish and a Cuban dress is? I'm like, well, I do, And so, she was just kind of joking, like, Lizette, I'm sure either one would be fine. And I said, yeah, she was right. So I ended up not changing and wearing one dress. So, the preparation isn't just the singing part, but it's all the indirect things. How do you arrange your day? How do you make sure the kids have something to eat? How do you, all that kind of stuff. And then, and my house, so everyone knows, looks like I had a concert today.
Yes, well, and for me, it's very much the same. I was practicing in the car when I took walks around the neighborhood, but as far as how long it takes to prepare for something like this, I know Lizette and I started talking about this when she was finished the recital last year, and I'm very honored for how gracious Lizette has been, for how gracious the Grace Chapel has been to let me be part of this community. I've been attending as an audience member and working the cameras the past few years, but so really this has been in the works for about a year, and even this morning I didn't feel completely prepared. So you can never get enough time to feel completely ready.
Thank you. We're just going to add one more question, which is my question.
Okay.
Do either of you have a favorite piece out of what you performed today, out of those selections? If you have a favorite, what is it and why?
Yeah, so it's funny because I'm gonna kind of break the fourth wall and tell you a little more information than he asked for. So my favorite piece was the last one, La Primorosa. I had never done that before, and I mean I've been exposed to zarzuela all my life, but I never really. I kind of did like, all right, I'll dip my toe in zarzuela, and then it's like, wow, I never. When you were exposed to a food multiple times, and finally you're like, or there's nothing left in the house, and you're looking at the cupboard and like, I don't really like those crackers, but there's nothing left, let me try one. So I said, let me try some zarzuela. And then I was like, wow, I've heard this piece before, but I never really saw how, I think that as you mature as an artist, you start to realize that it's not so much like when my high school teacher was asking me, do you like this piece, and what I liked. It's more about how can you host well, and what will an audience enjoy. And I'm thinking like the audience will enjoy a show, real fireworks kind of piece like La Primorosa. And so that was it. Now here's the part that you don't know. So in preparing for this, you try to prepare for all the different aspects that might come up. Your day, you run through your day. What time am I going to wake up? What am I going to eat? When am I going to eat? How much beverage do you have? All that kind of stuff. And then you think, and here we tried to prepare for this today that it was going to be sing, stop, we were going to have things. Well, when we came to the dress rehearsal, Stephen and I basically ran our portion, and then Joe did his. So I hadn't compensated for the fact that there was going to be a time lapse in this. So I was surprised to see how kind of vocally fatigued I was at the end, and I was like, whoa, what's happening? But you can't plan for everything. You know, there's all these improvisis that come up that you're just like, where did this come from? And so you do your best, and like they say, you know, in the arts or in performance practice, which is that, you know, you're trying to increase your average. You're not going to ever have a flawless performance. And that's the difference between live performance and you coming to a concert. You never know what's going to happen. And having a perfectly curated performance on YouTube, you will never have that energy and that sizzle in the atmosphere on a YouTube recording, but you can have it here. You're around people, you're inhabiting a space and a time and a place in history. So that's kind of that. All right, Joe. Take it away.
For me, it's my first love. Malafemmena was the first Neapolitan song I ever heard, so that one is always going to be the most special and my favorite. That was the question. Was the? Yes.
And we're going to do the meet and greet downstairs. So, you know, I feel like I know almost everybody in the audience. So just come down and say hi. Thank you.